How do you combine blocks in Minecraft and make it look nice? Well, the short answer is I don't really know, but I can't really roll the outro without giving you a proper answer. So we're here in my creative building world where I built some half decent builds, I think. If you look over here, this is one of the bigger ones I did. This is inspired off of an image that I found on Reddit, and I decided to build it in creative. And as you can see, I've used a lot of wood types here. There's spruce wood, there's oak wood, there's birch wood. There's even some jungle wood in here for the roof. And these platforms over here. This is just a very woody design. There's a lot of wood going on. And I don't really know how often I've said wood already in this short clip. So one thing you can do is go on the internet, on Reddit or something, search up some images of stuff that you like, and try to create it in Minecraft to the best of your abilities. And that usually gives some guidance as to what blocks work well together, because you often want to use some of the same colors, some of the same structure types, and that kind of stuff. Another thing is to use blocks that contrast each other a little bit. Not like this one, because this doesn't have too much contrast, but if you go over here, then you can see there's a lot of contrast going on here with just really white blocks with diorite over here and really black blocks with the polished blackstone over here. And of course, as the accent, I have used the warped planks. So this really works well together. And that's also another tip, is to go with one or two base colors. For example, here I used black and white, and then use one accent color to just kind of bring some color into your builds. And also one piece of advice to keep in mind is to break your build up into some segments. So your build will always consist of an entrance, a foundation, walls, windows, a roof, and other segments in between as well. And what you can really do with that is kind of play around with what segments you can add. So over here, I decided to go off a little bit and make a separate kind of a little house over here, a little segment over here with a different colored wall and a separate roof here. And this way you can kind of separate out the different elements that you're using in your build. Of course, over here as well, different color walls. There's this stripped warped stem over here that I used to kind of give some more variation into the build, but of course staying with the color scheme of the build itself. This doesn't really look too good, does it? This could work if you use it consistently, but that's really hard to pull off. That's more for like the advanced type of builders that even I don't belong to that category. So another example of the segmented thinking inside of your builds is what I did over here. Of course, we have the walls consisting of the spruce wood, and everything in the walls is just spruce. And then we have the roof, which is a totally different block, but it works well together. So I have some gray colored blocks here with the stone, the cobblestone, and the andesite, and then the inside is granite to give a little bit more warmth into the build. So that's another way to just kind of segment your builds out and kind of use blocks that work well together. So another example over here, this is a large house that I also built on the Crafty Table server. Again, very classic, consisting of wood, cobblestone, and the inside is just spruce wood over here. And of course, you can always combine things. Like over here, I decided to go with some windows in the roof. So that's something you can always do. Always just play around with different elements that you can add into your build. And of course, like I said before, you can play around with the block type that you use for the different elements that you're adding. Like over here, I wouldn't really go too crazy with it because, of course, the roof is made out of spruce. So you kind of have to keep the style going here. But for instance, maybe I wanted to change this wall up a little bit, make it out of a different wood type, or I don't know, maybe I wanted to make it out of stone bricks or something. I could do that and it would look fine. I think I would have to try it out and see for myself if it looked okay. So that's also just one thing that you're going to have to do is, of course, watch a lot of builder YouTubers. I mean, you can subscribe to me right now because I like building. I do it a lot. But there's so many good builders out there, and you can take inspiration from them and then start up your own creative world, your building world, and just try stuff out. Of course, if you're starting off with building, then it's a good idea to just try things out in creative first, see if you like it, and then if you like it, you can build the same thing in your survival world, and then it's like, yeah, I made this in survival, but I also designed it beforehand in a creative world. So that's a really pro tip right there. This build is very similar to that one over there. Again, very classic with the wood walls, the wooden doorway over here. And then I decided to go just a tiny bit different with these blackstone trim over here. And again, very classic in the middle. Some spruce stairs, and again adding different elements to your build. So like over here I added a chimney. That's something you can always do. If you're like, man, this roof is a little bit too plain, then you can try around with different things you can add to your roof or your wall or your doorway or whatever you're building. So like maybe add some windows in your roof, maybe add a chimney, or let's see, maybe just, play around with different shapes of your windows. Another thing that I often do is I start outlining my build with like some kind of base element. So in this case, it's spruce logs. So I often just place down these logs and I'm like, okay, I want this kind of shape for my build. And then I inset my actual wall block just by one, so that you can actually see some depth going all right off the bat. And that's just a really easy way to make your build a little bit more interesting. So for example, I could do this. I'm not really building a serious thing over here, but just as an example, you can do a little bit like this, and then you're starting off very good with some depth, and you can add a doorway in here or a window or something like that. There's always things you can do to improve your builds. In Minecraft, you have to play around with depth a lot, and yeah, as I say, just different types of blocks. So over here, this is one example of not too much contrast going on here, but just blocks that work really well together. So for the walls, I have this gray theme going on here with the cobblestone and the stone bricks. Some windows as well to add some elements into the build. And I can see I forgot to place window panes here, but that's fine. And again, here a trim on the outside and blackstone on the inside. So this is crimson planks with blackstone on the inside. And I thought that just looked really good. It's something that I often do. I just play around and try to see what I like and what I don't like. So I remember trying different block types, and then I was just like, nah, I don't really feel this one, and I changed it up for blackstone and crimson planks. So that's something that I really often do, and that's also, I've just been getting inspiration from other builder YouTubers, just something that you should really do as well. And of course, we have a little bit of a foundation here with some basalt that you can walk on. It's a little bit of a porch. And then here a forge of blast furnace and a regular furnace, some lava, just some elements to make things interesting. So that's really all I have to say on this matter. I will put a list of YouTubers that I watch often to get inspiration from and new ideas and build styles and that kind of stuff. I'll put that in the description down below so you can check them out for yourselves, get some inspiration, and also, of course, subscribe to my channel because I think I'm a great source of inspiration for maybe for your builds, or maybe you just like to watch my style or something. But anyway, I hope you got a little bit out of this video. I know it's all over the place and I didn't really give any specific tips for the kind of blocks that you should combine, simply because it's not clear cut. It's like you have to try things out, see what works well together, and also just get inspiration from other people, see how other people build, and see the style that other people go for. It's not a good idea to just see a finished build, because then you can't really see the process of how it came together. But anyway, I do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, click the like button. And if you're brand new, then consider subscribing. But I'll see you in the next one.